we've got a full meeting here. Yeah. Okay. I would like to get my agenda. Call to order today's meeting for December 1st, 2022 in Nevada's Governor's Office of Economic Development to order. If I could ask the clerk to take a roll, please.
This is Jeanette Hogan for the record. I'll now call the roll. Governor Sisolak.
Here.
Thank you. Lieutenant Governor Lisa Burkett.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Sagaski.
Here.
Dr. Weldon Havens.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Josh Reed.
Here.
And Mr. Ray Specht.
Here.
Thank you. And for our non-voting members, I have Miss Elisa Cafarata.
I'm here.
Thank you. Mr. Terry Reynolds.
Here.
Thank you so much. Governor, we have quorum.
Thank you very much. I'll close the roll call, move on item number 2, public comment. This is the first time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board on any item that's on today's agenda, items that are on the agenda, please step forward, identify yourself for the record, and comments will be limited to 3 minutes. I don't know how much public comment we have, since we don't have any empty chairs in this office. Anyone in Las Vegas here for public comment? Looking. No one? Okay. Anyone in Carson City for public comment?
For the record, Bob Hutz, Governor. I don't see anyone here either.
Okay, great. Do we have any written or telephonic public comment?
This is Jeanette Hogan for the record. I don't have anything written submitted, Governor.
Okay. I will close this portion of the public comment. Move on to item number 3, approval of the September 22nd, 2022 board meeting minutes. So I have a motion on the minutes.
Move for approval.
We have a motion from Secretary Sagaski. Any discussion? Hearing, seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to item number 4, the Executive Director update and Director's report. Director Michael Brown.
Thank you, Governor. Michael Brown. For the record, we've submitted the formal report, but a couple highlights I want to bring to everyone's attention. We continue to attract companies that are making significant investments, creating jobs, and expanding our tax base. One of those is making an over $1 billion investment in capital investments, another an average wage of $58, another relocating from California, and a land-based salmon production facility. None of what we do at GOED, though, would be possible without partnership with the Governor's Office and the network of regional development authorities. Thanks to Governor Sisolak, we were able to access some ARPA funds to supplement the critical work of the RDAs, and we appreciate the support of the Governor's Finance Office and the IFC. This morning, I attended the board meeting of LVGEA, and Tina Quigley continues to do a remarkable job in transforming that organization.
She is with us.
And she's building on the model that Mike Smirsky at Edon has, and she's transforming our largest urban RDA so that Greater Las Vegas can truly compete with Greater Phoenix. The final draft of the State Economic Development Plan will be released to you in December. In his first State of the State meeting, Governor Sisolak prioritized tribal relations. That led to our securing funds earlier this year for a tribal economic development initiative. And next week, we'll meet with the 27 tribes in Reno to start that process. GOED, LVGEA, and Southern Nevada Water Authority are working jointly on the challenge of water. In Southern Nevada, Chris Sanchez testified in support of SNWA's evaporative cooling moratorium, and we continue this new partnership with SNWA in our economic development work. And Chris continues work on trying to connect Las Vegas markets to the LA ports. Building on that same spirit of partnership, Deputy Director Bob Potts and I have been meeting the last several months with BLM. We have detailed to the BLM leadership the massive transformation occurring in Nevada, particularly with the workforce. At the last meeting, the state BLM director agreed to elevate economic development matters to his office, and we're now working with him on a utility plan for Apex, something that is long overdue. And we had NV Energy at that meeting, and that work's proceeding. But we're working out of the state BLM office with the state director directly. The tech subcommittee chaired by Sasha Stevenson that we created after the governor's 2 roundtables has produced its first success. We took to AG4 a plan to create a talent retention program to keep tech graduates in Nevada. what we've been seeing is the students that graduate with technology fields and are ending up in California because the way to onboard them into our local tech community wasn't there. We secured $4 million in T-Mobile funds and a partnership with UNR and UNLV to stem that brain drain to California. Jeff Saling, Teddy Lau, and Peter Tomasic led that effort. And it builds also on the work we did with AG Ford to get money for a community development, a minority-based community development financial institution with the Urban League. And both of those will have a special focus on disadvantaged communities. Finally, the biggest challenge. Today may be remembered as Lithium Day in Nevada. In the 2021 State of the State, the governor challenged GOED to make us the lithium capital of America. I've distributed a chart that I'll refer to later, but there's effectively 7 stages in producing a lithium battery and getting a vehicle on the market. Action today will close that entire loop. We will be the only state in the nation that has activity in all 7 sectors. And I'm going to say that again, we'll be the only state in the nation in all 7 sectors. However, at the same time, the governor wants to make sure that as we develop the lithium sector, that all voices are heard. Dr. Dana Bennett, who served on this board, and Emily Nolan from the governor's office with the support of Chief Kinsella, we held a lithium roundtable with all the stakeholders, the miners, the manufacturers, tribes, academia, state regulators, and civil society, so that we better understand everyone's position and issues going forward. And so with that, I'm ready to proceed with the meeting, but none of this would be possible if it was not for the dedicated work of my GOED staff who make this job easy. So thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I appreciate you having another food item on today's agenda.
Yeah,
we moved from pretzels to salmon, which is a lot healthier, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I also want to, for the record, go back to the vote on the minutes. Could you mark Secretary Sagaski as abstaining on the minutes? She was not here for that meeting.
This is Jeanette Hogan for the record. I'll put that down on the record.
Make that correction. Thank you very much. Thank you, Director Brown. I will now go on to item number 5, the metrics report.
Hayley Owens is a new member of our staff.
Thank you, Governor Sisolak, and good afternoon, board members and everyone else present. My name is Hayley Owens. I'm the research manager here at GOED. So I'd like to take a few minutes to walk through some highlights from our last quarter's activity. Covering the first quarter of state fiscal year 2023, which corresponds to the third quarter of calendar year 2022. So I'll be walking you through each of these charts. We'll start in this top row of charts contains data on the number of assisted companies for 2022 year to date, that's the calendar year to date. We've had 36 so far, 36 companies assisted so far in 2022. That figure is down about 44% year to date. You can see from that kind of small chart below it that we had really strong activity in 2021, which has slowed in recent quarters as overall national economic conditions have deteriorated somewhat amidst rising inflation and recession worries. So we are seeing a little bit of that here in Nevada with some business activity slowing down just a little bit. So next, the following 2 charts show the number of jobs pledged by our assisted companies. So naturally, following the decline in the overall count of assisted companies, we've also seen year-to-date declines in the initial and build-out job counts pledged by those companies. And again, as national recession fears have heightened in recent months, we're not surprised to see a little bit of that pullback from the immediate post-pandemic recovery period. But if we go to that, the top right chart where we look at the average wage paid by assisted companies, that is up. And it's increased just almost 4% since the prior year-to-date period. And we do use weighted averages here to account for the range of wages that a company will pay. For example, if a company has 100 jobs paying $11 an hour and 1 job paying $50 an hour, if you just averaged $11.50, you'd get $30 an hour. But when we do a weighted average, it would come out to like $11.40. So it really captures the distribution of those wages. And so seeing that overall weighted average wage going up is really great. And then moving to that second row of charts, first we have the capital investments pledged by the assisted companies, and that is also up almost 30% year to date. So we are really heartened to see that wages and investment numbers are going up. And this suggests that the companies that Nevada is recruiting and expanding are high quality wins for the state. And so those final 3 charts on the top half of the page show the current state of our business development pipeline in the form of our leads, prospects, and wins. And this is all just for the third quarter of the calendar year, not the full year to date. But you can see that leads and prospects, they're both up from the prior quarter. Prospects are up significantly from the prior year. And wins are just down slightly, but that big increase in leads and prospects really shows that we have a strong pipeline that should develop into continued wins for the state in the coming quarters. So now turning to the bottom half of the page, we have some stats from the different key offices and work areas of the Governor's Office of Economic Development. We don't just do business recruitment and expansion. So first down there, we have the Emerging Small Business Program. This program certifies local small businesses as emerging small businesses and then assists them with obtaining state and local government contracts. The number of contracts was down in the first half of 2022 from the first half of 2021, but it was up slightly from the second half of 2021. And meanwhile, the total value of the contracts awarded to those companies in the first half of 2022 was almost $10 million. So that was almost triple the amount of contracts from the same period the prior year. So again, in some of these cases, the counts might be going down, but the actual contracts and the investment of the wages are going up. So there's good news there. And moving to that second set of charts on the bottom, our Rural Community Development Block Grants. We had 14 grants awarded in program year 2022, which was a 75% increase from the prior year. Total available funding was down, but remains higher than all previous years except for 2021. So it was just a rough comparison to the funding available for that year. And then next we have the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, PTAC, which helps connect Nevada businesses with government or public sector contracts. They worked with a little over 1,600 clients during the first quarter of the fiscal year, which is up 20% from the same quarter of last fiscal year. And then finally, we have the Nevada Film Office. They saw 79 productions in Nevada in the first quarter of the fiscal year, which brought in almost $15 million in local production expenditures to the state. And if anyone is interested in digging into any of these numbers, in the board packet, we have a full 7-page report with all the details. I can also answer any questions. But before I conclude, I would like to say thank you to the governor for your leadership, getting the state through one of the most challenging periods in recent memory. Since your administration took over in January of 2019, 96 companies have received abatements while pledging to make $3.9 billion in capital investments in the state and are estimated to generate $1.5 billion in net new tax revenues over the next 10 to 20 years. These companies have committed to adding 14,652 jobs for Nevadans within their first 5 years of operation. So thank you, Governor. And with that, I'm available to take any questions.
I want to go back to item number 4. Do we have any questions for Director Brown on his report? Nobody? Okay, good. Moving on to item number 6, State of Nevada unemployment rate update from Deputy Director Potts.
Thank you, Governor. For the record, Bob Potts. I will keep my comments short because they're kind of boring, but they're very good because the unemployment rate now has been at the county level has been below 7% for over 14 months right now. So that's very good news. The whole point of having the 7% break here is to encourage job creation in areas where the unemployment rate is high. And like I said, we haven't seen that for well over a year right now. So any companies that are now applying for abatements will have to meet all the full abatement requirements, looking at wages, capital investment, number of jobs, exporting, as well as benefit packages. So good news.
That's great. Thank you.
All in my comments. So
that wasn't boring. That was good news, Bob. Thank you much. We appreciate it. Okay. Any questions for Director Potts? See, I feel like all these people are here. Nobody's got any questions. Okay. Move on to item number 7. Intent to adopt proposed regulations, Nevada Film Office.
All right. The film legislation that was in the statutes has not been updated in nearly a decade. And because of the experience we had with auditing film productions in the 21 legislative session, we went in and strengthened our regulatory hand to make sure that the audits were more thorough and that the director also had the right to say no to a project that might not really feel like it's right for Nevada. And so the legislature enacted that, but then we have to update the Nevada Administrative Code. And the film office is here, Danette and Kim from the film office. And Kim will kind of explain this regulatory process. Today, you're not only an economic development board, but you get to be a regulatory board because we'll need a motion to approve this. I'll let Kim explain it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Could you please, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's green, there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Christmas colors, green, red, back and forth.
Thank you, Governor Sisolak, members of the board. Thank you for having me. My name is Kim Spurgeon. I am the Incentive Program Manager of the Nevada Film Office. Our office is responsible for administering the transferable tax credit program for film and other productions. And we are here today to vote to adopt our proposed regulation changes. On September 28th, we held a public hearing to solicit input on this proposed draft. As part of the approval process, the GOED board is required to consider that public comment and vote as to whether to incorporate and adopt those into the regulation. I have summarized, there are around 7 public comments that we need to consider. I'll provide a quick summary and also a recommendation based on our experience. All right, the first comment for consideration came from Mr. George Fritz, where he identified a redundancy on page 13 of the draft on the requirement to report the total hours of work performed in the state. Both items 3 and 6 in this section ask to report work performed by extras who are Nevada residents. It is recommended to update item 6 in this section to read extras who are not Nevada residents to clarify the difference between these two items and avoid the redundancy. Mr. Fritz also asked whether the Department of Taxation confirms if sales and use tax is received on purchases made by productions participating in the program. Taxation does not currently perform this task. And while his comment has been noted, it has been determined that a change of this nature would more appropriately be incorporated by the legislature during a change to the NRS. On page 9, Mr. Joshua Cohen objected to the inclusion of the term gratuitously violent regarding certain instances in which our office can deny an application for tax credits, as he argues the term can be too broadly interpreted. It is recommended to update this section to match the language used in existing NRS, so the NAC matches the NRS, which allows our office to deny an application due to obscene or sexually explicit materials and does not include the term gratuitously violent. Mr. Cohen also asked that bank fees specified as non-qualified expenditures on page 20 and fees for the required audit specified as non-qualified in the NRS be changed to qualified expenses. To remain consistent with industry standards and other tax incentive programs throughout the country, we recommend keeping these expenses as not qualified. Furthermore, we cannot update the regulations to allow the cost of the audit to qualify, as that cost is specifically not qualified per NRS. Mr. Cohen also identified the language on page 21 regarding the amount of credits calculated on wages in excess of $750,000 to be unclear, as its current phrasing could be interpreted that if wages exceed $750,000, that none of the wages would qualify. It is recommended that this language be updated to avoid any misinterpretation. The intent of this section is to classify any amount of wages up to $750,000 as qualified and any amount in excess of $750,000 to not be qualified. Mr. Cohen also requested that an escrow account be required for incentive productions with any unpaid debts to be able to receive their transferable tax credit. Productions with any unpaid debts would not be able to receive a tax credit, so requiring an escrow account would be unnecessary. Also, this type of request we feel is better suited to pass through the legislature should the state want to consider that. And in the final public comment from the hearing, Mr. J.R. Reed requested that the Nevada Film Office verify that every Nevada vendor hired by a qualified production has signed off that they have received payment prior to the issuance of a tax credit. This task is already performed by the third-party audit, which is required in order to participate in the program and receive tax credits. And again, we also think a request of this nature would be more appropriately considered by the legislature as an NRS change as opposed to the NAC. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions or provide further clarification on any of the changes prior to the vote to adopt.
Do we have any questions regarding the proposed regulation changes from the board?
Josh Reed. First of all,
I'm sorry, could you push your green?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, Josh Reed. First, I'm not the J.R. Reed that issued the comment. Just wanted to make that clear. So just to confirm, the red line version that we see is the changes after the comments, and it's redlined from the current NAC.
It is redlined from the current NAC. It has not incorporated any of the public comments. The public comments that we are considering today, based on our recommendations, would not require a further redline, as they are not substantive enough to require a redraft. We confirmed this with LCP.
So it's the 4D comment. Find that again.
On page 21.
On which one?
4D.
No, that's not it.
And 4D, I'm sorry, I just lost it. Oh, it's on page 9.
Oh.
Page 9. And so the comment was the definition of violence was a concern.
Mm-hmm.
And then but the comment said the 4D would deal with that because it matches with the NAC. I just want to make sure I'm tracking that, because the 4D deals with rejecting anything that's obscene or sexually explicit. Oh, and gratuitously.
Yes. So the NRS that govern this program, 360.759, it is addressed there where our office has the ability to deny an application, and the phrasing used in that NRS identifies obscene or sexually explicit material to be able to be denied. The argument was made by Mr. Cohen that gratuitously violent could be too broadly interpreted, and based on who's in office, that definition could change. So this, by removing gratuitously violent, it simply matches what exists in the NRS. So the NAC and the NRS would be in tandem in that respect.
So these changes you said are based on experience of handling things over the past 10 years. And so you obviously added this in before that comment was made. And so has that been an issue on having to reject certain films for content purposes?
It has not. And since this change was made, last session we did update the NRS to allow our office to consider an application before it was required to accept an application if it met all of the qualifications, by allowing our office to decide to deny an application. It does give us more authority to turn a production away in the case of something that we would not want state dollars to go to.
Any further questions on this proposed regulation? Do I have any of the board members on the phone or north that have any questions? Okay.
None of
Thank you, Bob. Do I have a motion to adopt the proposed regulations?
So moved.
We have a motion from Secretary Sagaski. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item number 8, a $1 billion investment abatement application for board approval. Director Brown.
Yes, we're bringing forward an application from Redwood Materials. It is the first application to ever come in under the law that was passed by the legislature for the Faraday project a few years back. That unfortunately didn't manifest itself. It's for an investment, capital investment of over $1 billion. It is a significant investment in Nevada. It's a strategic investment for the United States of America. It has national economic and national security implications because it will be closing that lithium loop, and I'll address that a little more. It is also, this is a company that has strong support of the Department of Energy. I passed out a chart that my staff developed that shows the cycles of taking lithium and other rare earth materials, converting it, processing it, turning an cathode and anode that produces a battery cell, that produces a battery pack, that gets put into a vehicle, and then 10 to 15, 20 years later recycled. Nevada has a presence in stage 1. It has a presence in stage 2. It has a presence through Panasonic with stage 4. It has a presence in stage 5 with Tesla. We have some companies here that are building vehicles here under stage 6. And then you've approved several companies that are going to be in the recycling business. But we don't have a stage 3. It's perhaps the hardest part. It's the manufacturing of the cathode and anode. And I am no scientist on all of this, but I think there's a very smart person in the room that can help answer that question. And this is all in China at this point, 100% in China. And it leaves the climate change goals that the administration has set forward and the path to electrification, puts barriers with having it all in China. And so what Redwood is bringing forward is a facility that will help us close this entire loop. And, we will get a generation of mining that will occur, that will fill the supply chain, and then it will start to recycle all the way through. It also has the benefit, the social benefit, in that it's not just lithium. It's rare earths and minerals that often come from the Congo. In Dodd-Frank legislation that was passed over a decade ago, the manufacturers of electronics have to track all of the material coming out of the Congo to make sure that it's not coming out in a way that allows them to fund rebel armies that are battling in Africa. It's called conflict minerals. And by having this kind of recycling facility, we will fulfill a civil society goal of reducing the potential need for minerals that come out of a conflicted part of the world. Coming under this legislation, it's only qualify if it's $1 billion plus capital investment. It's a 10-year abatement program. They had to produce an independent economic assessment that was in your board book. They will be audited yearly by a third party, where most of our traditional abatements are audited on a cycle with the Department of Taxation. There's a transferable tax provision that they would qualify for under AB 400 that the Interim Finance Committee of the Legislature will have to also sign off on. They'll provide an annual report to the Legislature, and they'll have a community agreement with Story County. So, there's lots of belts and suspenders on this project, and it'd be the second largest project after Tesla in the state. J.B. Strobel, who is the founder of this company, was a former Tesla executive, and today here, and he's online, and today here we're joined by Alexis Jorgensen, who we've been working with on this project for over a year. They already have partnerships with Ford and Panasonic, so this is something ready to go. And this is a highly sought after project. We know there were states that have checkbooks that were knocking on the door wanting to land this project in their state. I'm really pleased that both JB and Alexis live in Nevada. I think JB lives in the Carson Valley there, or in the Washoe Valley, and we're just really pleased to have the founder of a company like this living in the state. And so with that, I want to turn to our representative from EDON here to take it from there. There we go, over there.
Good afternoon, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, Executive Director, and board members. For the record, I'm Nancy McCormick, Senior Vice President of Retention, Expansion, and Workforce for the Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada. I am here today representing Redwood Materials, who is looking to build a new battery materials campus in Story County at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, which will become a fully closed-loop domestic supply chain for lithium-ion battery materials. Founded in 2017, they currently operate in Carson City, where they have more than 500 existing employees. And as you know from the application and from Director Brown's comments, if they are able to proceed, Redwood Materials will position Nevada as a significant supplier of critical materials for the nation and will stand up the first operation of its kind in both Nevada and the United States. They plan to invest over $600 million in equipment and will make a total of $1.1 billion overall investment and are requesting tax abatements as allowed by NRS 360-900. They're planning to add 701 positions at an average wage of $32.03 per hour, which will take their Nevada employment to over 1,200 employees, and they meet the requirements for this application. When the operation is fully developed, they will manufacture enough cathode active material and anode copper foil, the two main components in lithium-ion batteries, to produce more than 1 million electric vehicles annually, and will help to position the state of Nevada and our education system as centers of excellence and innovation for emerging battery technology. EDON supports this application, and we appreciate the board's consideration. And with us today in Carson City is their founder and CEO, J.B. Strobel, and other senior leaders of his team who are here in both Las Vegas and Carson City. So with that, Mr. Strobel, if you'd like to take it from here and make any comments, say a few words, and answer any questions.
Thank you. My name is JB Straubel. I'm the CEO and founder at Redwood Materials. Also with me today is Kevin Caskert, who's the Chief Operating Officer at Redwood Materials. And prior to Redwood Materials, I was also the co-founder and CTO at Tesla for about 15 years. And as part of that, my role there, I led and scaled the first gigafactory right here in Nevada. And that gave me and some of our core team a really front row seat, I would say, to seeing some of the core problems the entire electric vehicle industry is facing now as it scales. And one of those is the limitation of the supply chain for components going into lithium-ion batteries and into electric vehicles. And it was pretty clear to us, even as we were first building that gigafactory, that the supply chain would become a potential limiter to the whole electric vehicle acceleration and adoption. So we started Redwood Materials to address that problem and to create, invent, and build this fully closed-loop supply chain here in North America, a domestic supply chain for lithium-ion batteries. And to do that, we start by actually collecting old batteries, recycled batteries from electric vehicles, from consumer devices, production scrap from other manufacturers like Panasonic, as well as utility energy storage batteries, really batteries of any kind. We then refine those materials, much like you would refine mined materials, separating the different elements apart, and critically remanufacture them back into usable battery components. So that really addresses this stage 3, this kind of missing stage 3 on that chart. And our goal is to make sure that the final products we make, both anode and cathode materials, can go directly back into US battery cell makers like Panasonic, who is one of our first customers here in Nevada. And those two components, anode and cathode, make up the majority of the cost inside of a lithium-ion battery and are actually the single most expensive components in an entire electric vehicle. So they're very strategic to these vehicles as they start to scale. And as has been noted, they are not currently manufactured in the United States. These components are 100% imported, largely from Asia, by all the cell makers operating in the US and scaling up today. So we're very excited to have this opportunity to potentially accelerate that supply chain and create it for the first time here in Nevada, here in the United States. This would really put Nevada, as has been noted, on the map in a very unique way, having every element of this electric vehicle supply chain, all the way from mining, refining, material production, and all the way through toward vehicle assembly. And the battery materials campus that we're developing here, is not only critical to the sustainability goals of the state and this administration, but it's also critical to our national security goals. These materials are very, very valuable. They're strategic. And by recycling them, we keep them inside the country. We can keep them in circulation and reuse them many, many times. It decreases the cost of the battery and it decreases the emissions associated with that manufacturing and refining. And when fully operational, the campus we're building and intend to scale here would have about 100 gigawatt hours per year of material manufacturing capacity. As has been noted, that's enough for about 1 million electric vehicles per year. Or in other words, around 2 to 3, maybe 2.5 gigafactories of battery cell assembly supply chain. So we would intend to not only supply materials to Panasonic, but their factory here in Nevada, but are also contracted to supply materials to Panasonic at their new factory in Kansas that they're developing there, among others. And to do this, we would need to invest about $1.1 billion into this campus to achieve this. This would be in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. And we currently employ, also has been noted, about 600 people here in Carson City, and also starting at a small scale in the Reno Industrial Center, and would create hundreds more jobs to achieve that scale of 100 gigawatt hours per year. And we've been approached by many states regarding this project. In recent months and really the recent year, the supply chain of batteries and EVs has been an incredibly hot topic, I'd say, across the whole country. But we want to build this in Nevada. I'm personally a resident of Nevada. My children go to school here in Nevada. I am very fond of this state and have been here for many years. I think this is the right place to do this. I think it also is really a great synergy with the mining industry and the mining culture that Nevada has. In a way to augment that and blend it with recycling and refining of recycled materials as well as mine materials. However, these industries are, and what we're doing today is competing with Asia. We're competing with materials that are, as we said, imported from Asia today. So it is critical that we are as competitive as possible and taking advantage of really strong public-private partnerships and working together to, hopefully address these abatement packages is really critical to making sure these materials can compete effectively with Asia and making sure that we can actually succeed at these projects and do this here. So thank you very much for your consideration, and we hope for your support in bringing this to Nevada.
Thank you, JB. Appreciate the presentation. Do you have any further presentation? No. For those who are on the board who have not been to the factory, been to the campus, if you want to call it more than a factory, I would encourage you, if you have the time to go. It's an absolutely amazing operation. I think I've gone through twice now, which is just really proud that you're in Nevada, born and bred and grown, and it's going to do a great deal for the state. The jobs are extremely important to me, to the state, to the community. You're going to put a lot of people to work and relieve some of our dependence on foreign supply chains, which is going to go a long, long way for us. So we're proud of what you've done. This is just an incredible application. I appreciate you working with GOED to make it happen and to bring this to reality. So I'm going to open it up for questions from the board members. Do we have any board? Secretary Segeski.
Thank you very much, Governor. And first of all, I want to thank the Director Brown and his staff for talking to myself and answering a lot of our questions. The one thing that I want to hear from you is I want to hear how much water, because we have the water shortage here, how much water, and do they have a process of which they are going to eliminate the usage of a lot of water. And I talked to Director Brown and others about this. That's my main concern, is the water usage. So if you can respond to that, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to. It's a great question. Sustainability overall is just a really core attribute of why we're doing this company. And, water consumption is obviously one very key part of that, especially here in Nevada. So we have engineered all of our processes to be extremely water efficient. We're a zero liquid discharge facility as engineered. All our cooling facilities are non-evaporative. We have basically radiative cooling instead of evaporative cooling. That's one key element. We also recycle most of our water internal to the process via either condensation, again, at the end of the process, or activities like reverse osmosis to scavenge and recover as much water that is in the waste stream to recover it back to the beginning. So this has been, not only, I'd say, a sustainability goal, but really an economic one for us as well. And it's kind of fundamental to making these operations possible in Nevada. So, that, I guess I would say, is how we're addressing that. But we don't see this putting an extra burden on water consumption in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. And we have, Kevin's team, has negotiated already water rights, sufficient to accompany this whole expansion.
Thank you for responding. I appreciate it. Thank you, Governor.
Any other board members?
Thank you, Governor. First of all, I think Director Brown very succinctly put this, how important it is that we close the loop. We talk about the jobs coming to our state, but we also look at how the U.S. economy and the world economy is migrating away from fossil fuels. And those companies in those states that can take a leading edge as we move into this phase of the economy are going to be critical going forward. And to see us taking a leadership role puts the state in great position going forward. So I compliment GOED. Thank you for staying in our state as you grow here. I really appreciate it. Along with the water question, I also have one other question is, can you tell me the impact of the electrical infrastructure? I mean, you talk about, all the electrical energy that we have, all the electrical vehicles, we're going to be moving more and more towards an electrical system. What kind of pressure does that put on our existing electrical infrastructure in the state?
Yeah, it's a good question. I can comment, perhaps broadly about the movement to electric vehicles. That's sort of, beyond even the scope of our company directly. But, I'd say, interestingly, electric vehicles generally make a better usage of the existing infrastructure. We have to design the whole electric grid for the peak demand periods, which are generally, around 2 times as much as the average demand period. So electric vehicles, when designed appropriately and controlled appropriately, are able to help balance that out, actually. And we can add a lot of vehicle charging onto the existing grid just by leveling out the load profile and charging them a bit more intelligently. Now, our factories and this campus we're developing, does, of course, consume electricity to do this. We've actually intentionally shifted our energy consumption to electricity only. So we don't use any natural gas at this campus. We specifically didn't even build a natural gas infrastructure, partly because we're excited that electric supply can become, and through NV Energy can be nearly zero CO2. So that's another key part of making lower emissions of the products we make. And Nevada has a great, ability to offer good renewable energy, via solar and geothermal. So that's another attractive aspect of expanding here.
Do you want to add anything about the solar behind the meter work that we're doing?
Jump in?
Yeah, just real briefly. So we're also designing into the campus as much behind the meter solar as possible. So if you ever get out there and see it, we've got a nice south-facing slope that can house about 8 megawatts of solar. Which will offset about 1/10 of our supply. And we're also working with NV Energy on an off-site, larger scale renewable energy program. So we're working through the details of that, but they've been great partners in the process.
Could you say your names for the
Kevin Cassicurt.
JB Straw.
I know whoever's keeping notes wants your names.
So good point.
Thanks.
Any further questions?
Hi, Lieutenant Governor Lisa Cano Burkhead for the record. I was just wondering if you could maybe expand a little bit on what type of initiatives are you planning in regards to STEM education and workforce development?
Yeah, I can touch on that briefly. This is JB again. We have existing partnerships with University Nevada, Las Vegas, and also University Nevada, Reno, in terms of curriculum development. So, working with both of the university level programs, we're, helping, I'd say, target some of the different, programs there toward the most relevant disciplines and really making sure that they, can immediately become, very, very, applicable into these new industries. We've also started that partnership at the college level. So with Western Nevada College and TMCC, both. We've had programs and continuing to develop curriculum there for different job classes. At the even at the younger level, we've hosted a number of different field trips and all the way down into grade school level. Recycling is something that actually really captures the imagination even of kids. I've had my kids' grade school class come and tour our whole factory. So they actually collect batteries in the classroom and bring them into to see them recycled, and it kind of engages and talks about making new batteries out of old ones. So, that's maybe a selection of different things that we're doing and engaging in there, but some of it's tactical for us related to job development and training, pipelining candidates for jobs. Some of it is, I'd say, really just related to helping the community understand what we're doing, why it's important, and why we need to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And also, I appreciate your answer on the water. That was one of my questions as well, and one of my concerns. That's it. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Governor, Mr. Reed.
Josh Reed, I think this is more for staff. One of the unique things here is the transfer of tax credits. I understand how to calculate it, but
Governor,
just the term.
We're having a difficult time hearing you, Mr. Reed.
My question was on the transferable tax credits. I understand how they're calculated, the sunset, but since they're unique, is there anything else? Are they in fact transferable? Or is that just the name they were given? If there's anybody who can speak to those.
Mr. Reed, Melanie Sheldon.
No, if I could you come up to the table, please.
Absolutely. Mr. Reed, Melanie Sheldon for the record. They are in fact transferable as well. So the company will make an application for those. We will issue a certificate of transferable tax credits, and then they can enter into a negotiation to either use them against certain taxes internally or sell them on to another provider. They're often attractive to casinos because they can be used against gaming licensing fees. Thank you.
Any further questions? I wanted to just make one clarification that it's my understanding that construction jobs are all the prevailing wage. Is that correct?
This is Kevin Casker. Yes, that's correct.
Thank you for that clarification. I'm sure that the men and women building this plant will be pleased about that. Do we have any further questions from anybody on this application? I appreciate the presentation. It was very thorough. If I could get a motion. Okay, come on. This is Lithium Day in Nevada here.
Requested tax abatements, the sales tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, personal and real property tax abatement, transferable tax credit of Redwood Materials.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. From up north. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much and congratulations. It's a big day, not just for Redwood, but for the state of Nevada. We thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. I hope you expand this a couple times over. This is just what GOED is supposed to be doing, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Comments really boring. Sing them out. Really?
Now it's trucking day.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I move on to item number 9. Kodiak Trucking.
I am, yes. All right. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Madam Secretary, Executive Director, and Board. For the record, Michael Walsh with the Las Vegas School of County Finance. I would like to introduce you today to Kodiak Trucking. Present with me today is their President and CEO, Marco Arambula, and their General Operations Manager, Manny Gonzalez. I'd also like to thank Martha Robles and the Acres Enterprise team for their commitment to economic development and the referral of some great companies that are looking to move to Southern Nevada. Kodiak Trucking is requesting the sales and use tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, and the personal property tax abatement. Kodiak Trucking will have a capital equipment investment of $13.7 million. They will hire 250 employees within the first 24 months of operation at an average wage of $58.58. Kodiak Trucking Incorporated also offers a comprehensive benefits program to their employees, and they meet and exceed the statutory requirements, and they have the full support of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. Little brief introduction to the company. They are a family-owned business established in 2014 in the city of Bakersfield, California. The company is a leader in dump truck transportation, hauling material throughout California, encompassing the Central Valley and in Southern California. Operations include hauling aggregate materials such as dirt, grindings,
hot asphalt mix, wet cement demo, and other materials. I'd now like to introduce Marco and Manny to explain the project in further detail and to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marco Rambla, founder of Kodiak Trucking. Obviously, this is my first speech, so I'm not too good at it. We're a company that specializes in construction trucking, seeking those prevailing wage jobs for our employees. We are also a trucking company that manufactures our own trucks to be able to provide the necessary trucks for our customers. We've been doing it since 2014. We've been able to be one of the leading dump truck haul providers for our community in California. We do travel along with all the projects throughout California. We seek to come to Nevada not only for the climate, but obviously the opportunity with all the work that you guys have out here. Just wanted to thank the governor for allowing us to talk on behalf of what we have.
Appreciate it. They should make you the public spokesman for this. You did great. You did absolutely great.
I want to introduce Manny, my general manager, operations in California.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having us here. Express our gratitude, to the governor, CISLAC, board members. Thank you for the LBTA. You've been great with support and welcoming us here to the state of Nevada. We're looking forward. As you know, California it's been more difficult, especially with the AB5 law now in the trucking industry. Nevada has a great desirable climate, workforce skilled. So we're looking forward to be able to be present in California. We focus a lot and invest a lot in college graduates, giving them the opportunity. Our company has about over 50% of new college graduates. We invest a lot in training them, giving them the opportunity to grow within our company. Some of those gentlemen or ladies have moved over to higher different positions, maybe with other companies, but they started with our company. They're now controllers. They're now fleet managers of the Bakersfield City of California. So we're doing something great. We're giving that opportunity to the graduates. We also have a captive insurance program where, we can hire pretty much anybody without commercial driver experience. So we target high school students that graduate from high school that maybe are not looking to be moving to the college level, but are looking to further their career, So we give them the opportunity. We invest after they're out of school. We train them for a week or more, and we offer them a job. A lot of these young kids, young people do stay within our company. Some move over to different opportunities in the trucking industry. But that, we've grown in the last 5 years at exponential percentage growth. We started with 10 trucks. We're now over 100 trucks. So allowing to go into that market, high school graduates, and in Bakersfield, the agriculture is big. So obviously, we've extended a lot of opportunities to the agricultural workers, that want to move forward and want to have better opportunities. A lot of these high school students may not be thinking of college in the future, but once they start a career where they know they can make more money, they might think of going back to college, and we're always open to better opportunities for our employees.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask you a question. You say you hire them without a CDL. Do you train them to get CDLs? Is that what you have a training program?
We do both. Obviously, we've hired, most of the people that we hired have a commercial driver license.
Okay.
We all know traffic schools sometimes don't do the best to have them fully trained. So when they come into our program, we train them for a week.
Okay.
And once they're done with the training program, we extend the job offer to them. We do have, and we have offered employees that work with us, mechanics or that want to become drivers. We pay for the schooling, and then they become drivers.
Just for my own curiosity, I'm really impressed with the wages that you're paying. This is a great opportunity for people to, that don't realize that this exists, to work for a company like yours. What do you do in terms of outreach to make the community aware of this opportunity to high school kids or college, whatever it might be?
Well, we've obviously approached CSUB, Cal State University of Bakersfield, for college graduates to offer and extend, job opportunities, whether they're in our HR department, our accounting department, the fleet management department. But we also obviously, advertise, Indeed, we advertise in our social media, Twitter, Facebook. We have an IT guy within our department that all he does is just work social media and pretty much tries to reach as far as he can to try and bring in, like I said, give the opportunity to a lot of the underserved community.
Okay, good. Thank you. Tina, this is yours. Can we do something with community college or with CSN to get them aware so that they can? These jobs are just incredible.
I know, that's what we were talking about too. The jobs and the wages. Yeah, exactly. We're excited for the reason that you're
Yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you. Any more questions? Secretary Suggestion.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the presentation. You both did well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very, very excited. And 100 trucks. Wow, that's amazing. That's really great. The one question that I have is you don't use any water, which I'm really grateful for. Thank you very much. But you use oil and then you recycle it. What do you do with it after it's not usable at all anymore? Is there a place that you put it? What do you do when it's not usable anymore?
In Bakersfield, there's the diesel companies, recycle that oil. So obviously they charge us to come to our location, siphon it all out, but they take and provide,
They just keep recycling it?
They keep recycling it, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, that's great. I was just curious. I didn't know. I'm not a truck driver, so I didn't know. But I think that's wonderful. But thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Any more questions for this applicant? A motion.
This is Lieutenant Governor Lisa Cano Burkhead for the record. Am I speaking over someone?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve the sales tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, and personal property tax abatement for Kodiak Trucking.
Do we have any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And appreciate you getting the word out about those jobs. That's incredible. That's really great.
Oh, I know. And welcome to North Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
cool.
you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you. You did great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on. American AVK Company.
Governor, this is an expansion from the Northern Nevada Development Authority. Amy Miller.
Yes, thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, Secretary of State and board members. For the record, I am Amy Barnes, Director of Business Development of Northern Nevada Development Authority. I want to thank the board for considering the expansion abatement application for American AVK Company. The company is applying for the sales and use tax abatement, personal property tax abatement, and the modified business tax abatement. American AVK Company currently has a facility in Douglas County where they manufacture water valve and fire hydrants. Their expansion will be adding casting ductile parts that will be used in their valve and hydrant assembly. American AVK Company will hire 12 new employees initially with an average wage of $28.25. American AVK is a strong employer, paying 100% of their employees' health benefits and insurance. They also offer their employees tuition assistance, cost of living adjustments, and merit increases, as well as retirement. NNDA fully supports American AVK Company expansion incentive application and respectfully request board approval for this request. Here with me today is Al Jaconis and Randy Looning, Al is the president of American AVK Company, who is here to talk a little more about the project and answer any questions the board might have.
Well, thank you, Amy. My name is Al Draconis. I'm the president of the American AVK Company. We manufacture gate valves, fire hydrants, and other products that are used primarily in municipal water and wastewater systems. In 2005, we made the decision to relocate from Fresno, California to Minden, Nevada. We completed that relocation in 2007, and I have to say it was absolutely the best decision we ever made. The experience for us has been terrific from beginning to end. I believe we have a good relationship with our local communities. It's part of our commitment to being a good corporate citizen within our community. We currently employ 103 people, 92 of which work in our facility in Minden. Over the last decade or so, legislation has proliferated at the national level, putting more and more Made in America requirements on money spent by the federal government for projects. I can say it's gotten so confusing, we have a big checklist to figure out which one we're complying with at any point in time. This was actually also directly targeted at iron and steel products, which put us in a difficult situation. 45% of the material we buy as a manufacturer are ductile iron castings. And those come, about 75% of that volume has come from China and 25% from Brazil. After 5 years of looking for competitive quality foundries in America, we've kind of given up and said we're going to have to do it ourselves. And that's what this project was all about. If you've ever been in a ductile iron foundry, you know those places are not pleasant. The process we'll be using is referred to as lost foam. It is clean. It is nothing like, if you've been in one, it's nothing like your image of a foundry like that. It's a very clean process. There's not sand all over the place. It's a great technology used heavily in the auto industry and farm implements industries. As Amy said, we plan to employ 12 people originally and expand quickly to 60 as our demand grows. We think this will be great for our appeal as a manufacturer in this industry in the United States, and will give us access to markets we've had difficulty penetrating because of our heritage, being a Danish-owned company. Our group in the AVK group is fully committed to sustainability, included in our project list, but not included in our investments yet, would be the ability to use various forms of like, for example, solar energy and things like that in our process. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Do we have any questions regarding American AVK and their application? Okay. Do I have a motion on American AVK and their application?
Governor, I'll approve.
We have a motion from Mr. Go ahead, Mr. Speck.
Thank you. Governor, I'll motion to approve the sales tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, and the personal property tax abatement.
We have a motion on the floor from Director Speck. Is there any questions? Hearing seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Moving on to 9C, West Coast Salmon, Nevada.
Governor, this comes from our newest RDA, the Nevada 9580. It's led by our friends Heidi and Michelle. This is a project in Pershing County, and it's the first project that's come out of Pershing County in quite a long time. So we'll turn it over to Heidi and Michelle.
Good afternoon, Governor and Secretary of State, Lieutenant Governor, and board members. My name is Heidi Lesbionvik. I am one of the directors for the Nevada 9580 Regional Development Authority, located in Pershing and Humboldt counties. We are pleased to present West Coast Salmon Nevada's application for sales tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, personal property tax abatement as well. This project is situated near the Humboldt County and Pershing County line and is truly a regional project. Both counties, as well as the cities of Lovelock and Winnemucca, have collaborated and supported this project for several years now as we, have moved forward with the process of hopefully putting a shovel in the ground. West Coast Salmon Nevada is investing $359 million into the region for phase 1 and bringing 75 jobs to the region. As a region, we are thrilled to welcome West Coast Nevada to our state and look forward to future opportunities that this business will create in our rural region and the rest of Nevada. Thank you for your consideration, and I'd like to introduce Ralph Rung.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State, board members, and all those present. Thank you for your time. My name is Ralph Rung. I'm the Vice President of Development for West Coast Salmon Nevada. About 4 years ago, the founders of our company, who were Norwegian by birth but are U.S. citizens and live in Houston, began to saw the market opportunity for growing fish on land and saw the size of the West Coast market and began looking for a suitable site. And they, for almost a year, went up and down the West Coast looking for a suitable site in all the states on the West Coast. And I believe Melanie Sheldon was very instrumental in convincing them to look at Nevada and explain the GOED programs and incentive programs here. So that's a culmination of where we are today, almost 3.5 years later, in presenting our application. And it's very important to us, our financials, and to our investors for this incentive application. A little bit of background. Our project is an aquaculture project. We're located at the Cosgrave Rest area on I-80. We plan to build a 60,000 ton a year facility to raise Atlantic salmon in 3 phases. Phase 1 is about 15,000 tons. And just to give you a sense, 60,000 tons of salmon is about 175 million meals of salmon a year. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about water in a minute, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions on that. But I will say this, is we bought a existing alfalfa hay farm, and we can raise that 60,000 tons of salmon on the same amount of water that 3 crop circles use in a growing season. It's very efficient use of water. A bunch of reasons besides the attractive location and incentive packages we chose Nevada. One is it's very close to the market. Within a day's drive, we can reach San Diego, Vancouver, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, and we can get to the fish to the market a lot quicker and a lot fresher than what the fish that are being imported. There's about 700,000 tons a year of salmon that are imported into North America, primarily from Norway and Chile. And I think the pandemic and the war in Ukraine, unfortunate war in Ukraine, have taught us that supply chains, food supply chains, can be very critical to moving forward. And so, part of the attraction of this project, I think, is to be able to bring salmon production closer to the markets that it's going to be serving. In addition, Nevada has a very suitable climate and geology for it reduces the capex of our facility, so it's attractive from that standpoint. So maybe moving to water, as I've gone around for the last couple of years talking about this project with various groups, including Director Reynolds and Director Potts over here, the first question I invariably get is, why do you want to raise fish in the desert? And the answer is the emerging technology, which is called recirculating aquaculture technology, or RAS, uses water very efficiently. We recycle over 99.9% of the water in the facility by separating the sludge from the fish growth. We disinfect that water, reoxygenate it, and recirculate it back to the tanks. Any purged water that comes out of the facility is treated and then recharged to the aquifer through rapid infiltration basins. We are very aware of how critical water is, and not only to Nevada, but the entire western states. So we are constantly in our designs trying to reduce evaporative losses, which are our primary losses, especially in the recharge of the aquifer. And also, we're working on new technologies to finish the fish, which is the purging of the fish right before they're taken to market, which is one of the biggest uses of water. Much like the folks at Redwood, we're also looking at using renewable energy. We're going to build a behind-the-meter solar field for phase one. Will provide about half of our power. In our future phases, we'll expect to be on solar power all the way. In terms of workforce development, we're very aware of the housing and workforce situation in Northern Nevada. We're actually working closely not only with the RDAs, but also with Lithium Nevada and the other mining companies up there as they develop their projects to work on housing solutions that fit all of us and developing workforce. Our plan is to hire locally as much as we can. There may be some skill sets, say as fish veterinarians or biologists, that we can't find locally, but those will be skills that will be imported into the region. We're working with Great Basin College to develop technical programs for young adults that are coming out of high school to help to prepare them for careers in aquaculture. And last week I met with UNR, their science department, about it was 15 or 20 deans and professors. We identified 4 or 5 different research projects that UNR and West Coast Salmon Nevada can work on jointly. We also talked about setting up an intern program for the people in their biology and their agriculture programs. So typically, as I've gone around the state talking about this, I finished by saying that, 3 or 4 years from now, Pershing County, Northern Nevada, is going to have one of the most advanced, largest aquaculture facilities in the world. And I can tell you right now, already in Europe, South America, and Asia, there are people watching this project and know where Northern Nevada is. And so it's an exciting project for us. We appreciate all the support we've gotten from GOED, the RDAs, the community. We've spent a lot of time with the water groups, Pershing Water County District, Humboldt River Basin Water Authority, working with the state engineer to make sure that we get our message across about good water conservation and usage. And we're excited to be here. We appreciate your support and your time. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I just got a real brief one. So you bought an alfalfa farm when you're using those water rights for the project, correct. Is that right?
That's correct. We've already been through all the change applications, and knock on wood, we've had no protests or problems with the community.
Great. Cool. Do we have Secretary Sagaski?
Thank you very much. Well, I do have to say that you got me when you said Norwegian, because I'm a Norwegian, so I'm very happy.
Norwegian salmon.
Yeah. But does this mean you're taking away the salmon from Norway that comes? And that's just a joke. I'm not serious about that. But my husband does go fishing in Oregon and goes salmon fishing, and so I don't want you to take that away from him, that he can go up there and go fishing.
You can go fishing there. I don't think catch a salmon in these tanks.
I don't think he would like to go to Pershing County to go fishing. But anyway, we have a 70-foot stream and a pond with koi. And I look forward to talking to you about how to decrease some of the waste that they produce. I'm very, very much looking forward to talking to you a little bit more. But anyway, you had me with Norwegian, so thank you.
Do you sell the sludge as fertilizer?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'll just make a couple of quick comments on that. One is that Norway will continue to raise salmon. However, the first evolution of this aquaculture industry was the net pens that you see offshores. There's a lot of pressure on that because of the concentrated pollution in the fjords. In British Columbia, they're going to phase out net pens by 2025 in between Vancouver and Vancouver Island. In Chile, which is another major region for growing salmon and other fish, they're also under regulatory threat. So the supply is actually going to be constrained, and so we're adding to the supply. The other comment I'll make is, all fisheries are wild fisheries now are being overfished, and aquaculture itself is actually producing more fish for consumption now than wildlife fisheries. It peaked about 5 years ago on the wildlife. So this is a sustainable way of bringing an important protein that uses water and feed very efficiently to the market without further damaging the environment in the wildlife fisheries.
Do you sell the sludge, the waste, as fertilizer, as a byproduct?
Yes, sir. We do. We're talking primarily Winnemucca Farms. It can be composted. And so, yeah, it is a revenue stream for us.
We do get people that ask us for our sludge. We do.
Well, have them go in there and take your sludge. It'll solve your problem.
Well, it doesn't do all of it. He's got some of the answers. But I do have another question, Governor. Have you talked to the Native Americans, because that's who is controlling what's going on in Oregon and part of Washington? You know, the rivers there. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, so I didn't know if that was part of what you're talking about.
We've outreached to the community in general. We've had no questions from the from the tribes that are local to the area. When we begin job hiring in first quarter, that's one of the groups we do want to reach out to. But we have not had any questions or comments from them, and we've been in the papers and had several community events.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions for this applicant, West Coast Salmon?
Thanks, Governor.
Do I have a motion?
I'll give you one.
Okay, Secretary Sagaski.
Well, Central Norwegian. Yes, it's all about Norwegian. I would like to give West Coast salmon in Nevada. I think that is hysterical in the desert. But anyway, I want to make sure that you get a sales tax abatement, a modified business tax, and a personal property tax. So with that.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Moving
much.
on to item number 10, a director approval abatement, Wyland, Las Vegas.
Yes, Governor, this comes to us from LVGEA through Michael Walsh. This is under my authority to approve, but in the interest of transparency, it's been traditional that these always be approved by me at a board meeting. And so I'll turn it over to Michael Walsh and our applicant.
Thank you, Director Brown. Good afternoon, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Madam Secretary, and Board. For the record, Michael Walsh with the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. I'm here to introduce you today to Wyland Vegas, LLC. Present with me today is the President, Darren Wyland, and Corporate Controller, Frank D'Amico. It's important to note, Governor, and Board, that Wyland was before you in 2019 for incentives that were approved in their entry into the market. They're before you today for their expansion efforts that are taking place. They are requesting the sales and use tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, personal property tax abatement. They will have a capital equipment investment of $2.2 million. They will hire 25 employees within the 24 months of the expansion operations at an average wage of $28.96. Wyland Vegas also offers a comprehensive benefits package to their employees. They meet the statutory requirements and have the full support of the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance. Wyland Vegas plans to expand its existing Las Vegas manufacturing facility. The expansion plan will comprise an additional 28,000 square feet. Wyland is a subsidiary of Wyland New York, LLC, a company founded in 1971 and based in Melville, New York. Wyland provides direct marketing communication services. The company offers direct marketing strategy, direct mail production, data insights, digital direct marketing, marketing optimization, and creative services. I'd like to now introduce Darren and Frank to answer any questions that you may have and to explain the project in further detail. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Governor.
Good afternoon.
It's nice to be in this room again. It's been 3 years. I think I've met most of you here, and you were on the screen last time up there.
Okay, up north, okay.
So, our journey here has been exciting, well, and a lot of work. We came here in 2019. We were able to get the package and abatement. We went to work. We got up and running to set up what was initially $5 million plus of capex and got a manufacturing facility up in 5 months. and then this thing called COVID hit. So luckily we were a small operation and we were still working and testing, so we stayed small, but we were able to make things work. We were able to shift our direct mail production, which is a national-based production, primarily was in Florida, and we've been able to successfully shift that out here to Las Vegas. We've been able to now to reach the country, and in our world, speed is everything, and we have the ability to reach the entire United States with a direct mail marketing message within 1 or 2 days, 80%. Because we are in Florida and now Las Vegas to be able to reach that. So our ability of speed is leading to our success. We are looking to go ahead and make additional expansions here. We've had tremendous success with employees coming from South Florida, which is where a lot of people are going to, coming to Las Vegas and absolutely loving it. So that's been exciting. Clearly, as with COVID, people leaving from New York to Florida, it's become very expensive in South Florida. So this has been a great alternative in being able to expand. We will continue to do stuff, and I just wanted to say hi and provide that and hand over to Frank with some additional information.
Thank you, Darren. Good afternoon. Frank D'Amico, Corporate Controller. First and foremost, our thanks to the Governor, the Board, and the entire GOED team for your consideration. These incentives are really important to our growing direct marketing and print advertising company here in Las Vegas. With the assistance of Michael Walsh and the entire GOED team, it was simple to see how Las Vegas was far and away the best option to expand our business. Michael and team introduced us to various partners, including providing access to labor, education, legal, and financial members of the community. As a result of the business-friendly climate Southern Nevada has to offer, our business is adding capital equipment, employees, and manufacturing space. Our original CapEx investment was in excess of $8 million. We will add another $2.5 million in the next couple of months alone. As such, the tax incentives are a material factor in our decision for expansion. We have recently added 28,000 square feet of manufacturing space on top of the original 66,000 square feet of space. The company will hire locally sourced employees from the Nevada labor pool for all positions and commits to internal training and development of its employees. The major markets from our facility will serve all of the United States located west of the Mississippi River. Last year, the company produced over 1 billion, with a B, pieces of mail, and is on pace to exceed that amount this year. In closing, we have concluded that Nevada has the best combination of business culture, location, and environment to meet the strategic needs of our company. Following 50 years of East Coast operations, we are committed to expand our business and to call Las Vegas home. Thank you very much for your time today and your consideration.
Thank you, Frank. Do we have any questions regarding this application?
Hey, Doctor. How many of the 25 individuals will be Nevadans? Because you mentioned you're bringing 7 people from Florida in. How many of the 25
we expect all of the 25 to be local Nevadians. That's what we're targeting. That is our plan.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any further questions? Director Brown.
Governor, I approve Whalen Las Vegas LLC for sales and use tax abatement, modified business tax abatement, and personal property tax abatement.
Thank you, Director Brown. That is just an information item for the board. Congratulations. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity.
Moving on to item number 11, board member comments. Do we have any board member comments?
I just want to say thank you to GOED. And thank you to you, Governor, for your leadership and friendship over the years. And I just want to tell you all thank you for being on this board. And I've enjoyed learning a lot over the past 8 years. So thank you. And again, thank Director Brown and his staff for all of their contacting us, talking to us, And I really appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well said. Anyone else?
This is Lieutenant Governor Lisa Cano Burkhead. I just also want to express my gratitude, Governor, for your tremendous leadership in our state, and also to Director Brown for your leadership and really helping our state grow economically, and to your team, to our secretary. Also, thank you for your leadership over the course of your time in office.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Appreciate it. I'm going to move on right into my comments. I want to thank all of you, especially Michael, and you can't do it without a tremendous staff that you have, an incredible staff. Thank you all so much for what you do every day. And it's been a pleasure to serve with this board. I have learned so much, everything from lithium to pretzels to salmon to you've taken us all over the map and all over the menu with the issues that you brought forward. And it's been truly a pleasure and experience. You've done a tremendous amount of job creation in the state of Nevada, and that is really what is the most important to me in terms of getting people to work, giving them the opportunity to support their families and themselves, and done a remarkable job. And the staff, you've just been absolutely amazing, bringing us forward great applications. Couldn't do it without any of you, but the state is better off because of the work that each and every one of you have done. So thank you for that. To my board members, it's just been a pleasure to work with. Of all the boards I'm on, this is a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun and educational, and we really could see the difference that this board made with the board participation and great questions, whether it was about energy use or water conservation or business licensing or whatever it might be. The board really clicked and was together, and we thank you for that. Sincerely, it's been a great pleasure to serve with you and a privilege.
Thank you.
So thank you. So that'll close out, and I'm going to open it up to public comment. This is the second time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board on any item under our purview, please step forward, identify yourself for the record, and comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Do we have anyone in Las Vegas here wishing to make public comment? Anybody? No. Okay. Do we have anyone in Carson?
Okay, all right. I can't go back to me. Tina Quigley, president of the LVGEA, and I didn't want the last meeting to be held without being able to say very publicly a big thank you to Michael Brown. When I haven't been in this job for very long, but when it was clear that I was going to be coming over, he is one of the very first people, actually before that, one of the very first people I reached out to learn more about what economic development was and what the role of the economic development agencies. And you have been so kind throughout my entire tenure and give me the confidence and the information that I needed to move forward. And I ditto what you say about the team, the staff that they have. Chris Sanchez, I think, is one of the strategic brains that the state has as an asset, and I've been blessed to get to work with you and Melanie and the rest of the team. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Anyone in Carson City for public comment?
Governor, this is Bob Potts. I don't see anybody here.
Okay. Well, then Michael Brown has just given me 2 proclamations. There are 2 plaques. Plaques, thank you. To hand out, presented to Secretary of the State of Nevada, Barbara Sagaski, in grateful appreciation for your dedication and commitment to bettering Nevada on behalf of the Governor's Office of Economic Development 2022. Thank you, Barbara. And Lisa, we have one for you as well down here, but we'll keep it here until you come back down, okay?
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Director.
Here you are. Holding it up for everybody to see. We'll have it for you when you come down here. With that, no more further public comment. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We didn't do on.